Hello everybody, I am Schythe and welcome back to my Space Station 13 tutorial. In this episode, basically I'm going to be going over uh, the getting started page and basic various jobs and some other tips and tricks. Also, I'm going to tell you also going to be the tips and tricks. At the getting started page, I found this, I went to guides basically, and I just clicked on getting started right there. Hopefully the quality in this one is a little better. Alright, getting started, first it's gonna give you the Beyond download link. Again, if you're wanting to play this, click that link, go download. And then you need to find an appropriate server. Since the vanilla version of Space Station 13, many servers are branched out in their own ways. Many have borrowed code from one another, but most are different in one way or another. Given that you're reading on Goonstation, in this case you're listening to me talk about it, you're going to want to look at LLJK 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, all hosted by the Galactic Order of Oppressive Neckbeards. LLJK1 has no antagonists. And number 5 has roleplay expected and enforced. Basically, if you just want to go in and have fun and not have any antagonist roles first round or something, go play on the first server. And then number 5 is your more hardcore server, I suppose you might consider that. I don't know. They run variant game modes most of the time, so you may wish to choose one of the other servers to start off with to get used to normal ones. So pick 2, 3, or 4, which is, yeah, cool. And then after that, when you first get into the game, I'll show this when I actually get into a game or play with you guys and show you the map and stuff. You're going to want to do your character setup. You can set up the cosmetic appearance, hair, name. You're going to also want to pick what jobs you prefer. First thing that is recommended is being a staff assistant on your very first time actually playing. Then you're going to want to declare that you are ready. That way when the countdown begins, you're randomly assigned your job and stuff, and you actually can play. Otherwise, you just pick from whatever's left. And another thing you could do is just observe the round. Basically, you're going in and ghosting a whole round. You're not going to be able to play, but you're able to fly around, get to know the layout of the station, and you can just choose to play the next round afterwards. The user interface is going to be a bit tricky at first. Left side of the screen is the game window. Sorry. The left side of the screen is the game window. It is centered on your character. You can move around with the arrow keys or hit tab to toggle WASD. Right side of the screen is the info box and chat window. At the bottom of the screen is a text parser where you can type in what you want to say or certain commands. We'll get into that later. How using the radio, by the way, is using the text is a little interesting. You don't actually just type, like it says right here. If you want to talk out loud, you have to type say, then space, and then you type what you're going to say. If you want to talk over the radio, you have to type say, space, and then the semicolon, and then whatever you're going to say. And you can also use mentor help by just typing in mentor help, and a pop-up box will appear. There's more specific. By the way, with the radio, there's a bunch of different other channels, and they're all right here. So if you want to use your job specific radio channel, which varies for all jobs, you type say semicolon H. There's also a command right there for fancy command headsets, but also if you have a robotics machine translating implant, basically you can talk to robots in the robotic speak. You type say semicolon S. There's AI's internal radios that's say 1, 2, 3, whatever. But yeah, that's the basic chat commands. Get back to this. This is the first thing you're going to be seeing right here. This is the Arrivals Bay. If you have any superpowers, they're gonna toggle down there. Up here is various abilities. That usually means you have a light on of some sort, and that usually means you have air, or like your oxygen tank is flowing. Your health indicator. Hard for me to talk right now. It's strange. Stamina indicator and body temperature. Body temperature, you're generally going to want to keep green. If it's going up, that usually means you're in a place that's either A, too hot, or B, on fire, and you're going to want to leave that. And the other thing is if it gets too cold, usually means you're in space, and you're going to want to get out of there. Stamina, there's a lot of in-game stuff with that. I'll find the specific thing that deals with that and read it some other time. Down here on the bottom though, alright. Yeah, toggle ability bar. If you have any superpowers, that's what you're gonna want to do. Inventory, you can also just hit, I think it's I for inventory. I could be wrong. It's your toggle inventory, and this is your actual inventory. That specifically is your belt slot right there. These are your pockets. You got your backpack slot. That's whatever's in your left hand and whatever's in your right hand. This particular person has a fire extinguisher in his right hand. And over here you have your throw drop toggles. You have your intent toggle. There's 4 separate intents, and I'll go through them in a game. Targeting, if you're hitting somebody, this is where you're going to be targeting. Body, head, legs, arms, whatever. And then you have your special control: push, pull, stand, resist. Resist, if you're like on fire, you're going to want to lay on the ground, and then you're going to want to resist, so basically you're rolling around. That's the basic layout of everything. Other stuff is just this right here is your inventory slot, sort of. It's basically what you're wearing. That's your jumpsuit. If you have any body armor, it would go there. If you have like any goggles or glasses, they go there. That's your headset. Shoes, gloves, ID card. For some reason he has no ID card, but yeah, it'd go there. And there's a helmet slot over there and a mask slot. I think that's the helmet slot. I think that's the mask slot, but that could be reversed. I don't remember. Right clicking on something when you're in a game actually brings up a context menu. Various verbs that you can do, like pull, push, pick up, drop, examine, stuff like that. How your character interact depends on whatever is in your hand and whatever your there it is. Whatever your intent is. The 4 small colored hand icons, click on something with an empty hand and it'll usually just pick it up, use it, or shake it, punch it, or grab it, depending on what your thing is. Intent, that's the word. Equipment and indicators. At the bottom, you should have, I basically just gave you an overview of that already. I'm just going to skip that. And if you don't want me to skip that, you could just read it right here or go on the website and read it. Again, I'll have all the links in the description down there. Hopefully I can get through all of this without anybody interrupting me and me having to come back through this and figure out where I was. Other controls. There are other controls on your main interface. Intent settings. Here's the actual intent settings. Basically determines what you're doing. The green hand is help. This will shake someone who's asleep or out, or attempt CPR on them if they're dead, which can help them. The yellow hand is disarm, which tries to knock something out of someone's hands. If they have a gun or a weapon or something, trying to disarm them. Orange is grab, which is an aggressive, if you want to like grab them and move them, or grab them and choke them. Yeah. And red fist is harm. This will just straight up hit them with the whatever you have in your hands. Not always effective, depending on what you have in your hands. And alright, throw drops, fairly straightforward. You could just throw an item or drop an item. Same with run or walk. Toggles between running and walking. Usually you're going to stay on run. Unless the floor is wet, then you're going to want to walk through that area and then keep on running. Pull. If you can't pick it up, you're going to have to drag something. Usually this is if someone is knocked out You're going to want to just pull them to the med bay. Resist. These specific applications, like I said, if you're on fire, or more, this is probably likely to happen more if you're in handcuffs, if you've been bad. You use resist to try to break out of handcuffs and shackles. Rest or stand, toggles between lying down and standing up, basically. Small delay, so you don't expect instant reactions and stuff. By the way, if you didn't know, this is generally what the game looks like. It looks like those NES graphics, and if you're a ghost, that's what you look like right there. I don't usually ghost rounds. Alright, so what's going on here? The average Goonstation round goes as followed. Players are assigned to their jobs. Some players are assigned as antagonists. There's a bunch of them, including mostly traitors, but occasionally wizards, changelings, and nuclear operatives. Players do whatever the heck they want. They might do their jobs, they might not do their jobs, start wandering off, exploring space, messing around with stuff, building stuff. They might run gimmicks, which is always fun. Antagonists do pretty much whatever they want as well. They may work on their objectives, they may just cause chaos. They're free to do whatever, including killing other people. They're the ones that can. If you're not an antagonist, don't kill people without good reason. At some point, the emergency shuttle will usually be called to evacuate a station. Once it leaves, it'll spend 2 minutes in transit, which is interesting. It used to just be instant, during which you can be thrown from the craft and killed, so be careful and buckle up. Arriving at CENTCOM ends the round. Round usually ends automatically when certain conditions, game mode, see the game modes, are met. I don't want to see the game mode. I have that right down here. There's a ton of different game modes. I'll go over that in a different one. Hazards. There's a bunch of different hazards. As you get used to the basics, shit's gonna go down. You may have to deal with environmental hazards like gas leaks, fires, hull breaches, and whatever, or hazards from other people. Security may hassle you for wandering into restricted areas, and people may react violently to you if you just barge in on their workplace. Don't barge in on the kitchen. They'll probably kill you and turn you into some sort of food. Fair warning. Sorry. And there are plenty of antagonists around causing mayhem. Until you have an idea of how you should act, you should generally try to run away, call for help, and don't worry about it too much. Worst thing that can happen is you die. If so, you can still watch the round, talk with dead people, and play once the round starts the next time. If you are trapped somewhere and you don't want to give up just yet, and you want to just give up, you can just type in the suicide command. If you're in critical health, you want to hurry up, you can use the succumb command. Suiciding while holding certain objects or near certain items might cause a bit of a mess. Some crewmen have tried to take into discovering just what these items are and what areas they are. That could be fun. Suicide in interesting areas with interesting items. I haven't found any myself. When you're ready to start figuring out what you should be doing exactly, you have some resources. You have this wiki, which I'm reading for you a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole wiki side. That'd be a bit ridiculous. You can experiment, which may result in disaster, which is the fun part, honestly. I spent a whole round just like going through various like chemical mixes. Didn't find anything useful. Made meth and neurotoxin. That was fun. Neurotoxin is fun. You could ask for help over the radio, or you could ask for mentor help. Mentors will answer whatever gameplay questions you've got. If you've been killed or griefed unjustly, you can admin help that. We covered admin help in the last round a little bit. In the last video, sorry. A little bit. And timing. A round can last anywhere from 10 minutes to several hours, depending on the game mode and when the shuttle is called. But a typical round will last 45 minutes to an hour. That's about right. Yeah, unless they're really hesitant to call the shuttle for some stupid reason. It happens. If you need to go, it's more polite to suicide rather than just disconnecting, since that way people will know you're not going to be back. If you feel super polite, you could drop your ID in a public area or hand it off to someone who else who thinks they can do your job, unless you're an assistant, in which case you have nothing else to do. Just kill yourself in a way that makes others think you're not gonna that takes others with you or calling the shuttle because you just want to leave are both inadvisable. If you're the AI, leaving in the middle of the game can cause some serious problems, so don't pick the AI unless you're sure you're gonna stick around. In case you don't and you are the AI, again, admin help. We covered this in the last episode. What happens if you die 10 minutes in? Well, there are mechanics to prevent a round from dragging on too long. Ha, I doubt that. I've been killed 10 minutes in, and that round lasted like an hour and a half. Random events should steadily get worse over time. Yeah, like meteors will eventually just destroy the whole station. If your body survived, you can be cloned again. If at least your brain survived, you can be brought back as a cyborg, which means you'll have different objectives, but you can still play, and as a newbie, it could be a good thing to ghost observe someone doing one of their jobs. If all antagonists die early, then there may be some late joining antagonists, or they may respawn ghosts. Listen for klaxon sounds, apparently. I haven't had this happen to me. As various enemy roles. Sometimes an admin may reactivate dead players as new antagonists as well. All in all, it could be worthwhile to stick around afterwards. Sometimes. Job prospects. Here's a couple good things to start out as. If you are starting out around, you're going to want to first off be a staff assistant. This is going to be your first job for when you play, or it should be your first job. You have no responsibilities, no obligations, and you're ignored by everyone. You basically can just rove around and get into crazy misadventures. Other simple things beyond that are the janitor, the barman, the chef, or the chaplain. These are basically, they have no actual major critical things that they have to do. You could be these and just role play them. And these jobs are all simple, and few, if any, will mind if you don't have a clue at what you're doing. Yeah, basically just the chef and the barman, have a little bit of stuff. The botanist is also a really simple one. You guys see me play that a lot if you watch my SS13 videos. Botanist, basically the rest of the station tends to forget hydroponics exists unless they want weed. And botanists are usually relaxed and don't mind idle chat while they wait for the weed to grow. Again, like I said, they usually grow weed, among other things. It's a good place to hang out and learn from others without having to do any major projects or something like that. Beyond that, if you want to actually get into experimenting and have no particular specific duties, you're going to want either a scientist or a mechanic. A scientist will allow you to mess with all the various science stations. Chemicals, for example. Chemicals is a good one, but you're almost certainly your first couple times going to blow something up. Even if you know exactly what you're doing, you still might accidentally blow something up. And a mechanic, basically, that's where you just testing out the building system, which can be really in depth and in detailed and stuff like that. There's also geneticists. DNA sequencing is quite easy and unlikely to disrupt anyone else. Basically, you're just going to be working on cloning and superpowers. Mining is a great opportunity to go out and go on a space adventure. Maybe not a first game, though. Suffocating isn't pleasant and it's very slow. It really is. But yeah, mining is also a good one for your third or fourth round. If you want to be a late joiner and just pick mining, I'm sure that'd be fine. But yeah, if you're throwing miner though, it's not a big deal. You just throw on your spacesuit. You gotta make sure you throw on your spacesuit. Walking out in space without a spacesuit on would result in exactly what you think. You're gonna die. Lawyer, barber, and tourist. Basically, these are jobs of the day which can be given out. They resemble chaplain or assistants with low access, zero responsibility. Basically, just role-playing roles. There are some fun ones. Most of these apply to most gimmick jobs: musician, diplomat, salesman, clown, whatever. There are some standard duty jobs which are not difficult and good for something you eventually want to try out, basically. Engineer basically is just expected to start the engine and keep it running. But only one engineer is usually needed to do this, otherwise it's a pretty simple job. Chief engineer combines engineer, quartermaster, mechanic, and miner with a bit more access and some more toys. No extra duties though. Really. And they count as a head, I think. Some engineers might decide to treat you as if you're in charge, but you don't have to be if you don't want to. Roboticists are pretty simple. All you have to do is make power cells for the robots, make sure they're in good working order. That's about it. Beyond that, you just get to experiment with that, build the robots, butt bots, med bots, whatever. And the head of personnel basically just gives people jobs. Like, that's his job, is to reassign other people's jobs if they don't want it. Eventually you may ask, this is way down the road, I'm sure. These are the more difficult jobs. Captains are usually, it depends really. You don't want to be the first, like right off the bat, you're not going to want to be the captain. This is down the road. Surprisingly, you don't have to really be competent to do this. Yeah, that's really obvious actually. There are some captains who don't know crap about what they're doing sometimes. Or it seems like it. Your only obligation is to protect the authorization disk in your pocket. Don't be a dick, and no one likes a dick, obviously. And other than that, you get to explore almost everywhere in the station. Basically, the only place you don't have access to is the head of security's office. I think you have access to security, but not the head of security's office. The cyborgs, you get access to everything, but your interface is a little bit different than normal, and you need to follow the AI laws. Meaning you can't hurt anyone even if they are attacking you. That does kind of suck, but you can still run away. And cyborgs are kind of fun. There's also Quartermaster. I've done episodes about the Quartermasters before. I've done episodes about a few of these guys. Quartermasters are fun. You basically just learn the buying and selling systems, and you if you really wanted to, you can get into the manufacturing portion of the game. Medical doctors and the medical directors, I have not personally played these roles. You're expected to heal the wounded. This is more complicated than the other duties, and your patient can die if you screw up. Eventually you're going to want to learn this. It's just good stuff to know. But yeah. Your medical director basically combines the roboticist, the geneticist, and the medical doctor. He has access to all of those places anyways. And he's in charge of those 3 jobs anyways. The research director combines head of staff access with being a scientist. That's about it. You're a scientist that can go in a lot of rooms. It's really useful. Antagonist roles, you're the bad guy. Most of the time you're just going to either get an EMAG, which allows you to short circuit doors and just prop them open, or you're going to kill someone and take their ID card. The AI, these are jobs that you should definitely avoid being like your first time out. You should avoid being the AI. They have a lot of responsibilities, and they're kind of necessary to be around. Security officer, don't pick this as a starting player. You're basically a cop, and a cop who doesn't know what he's doing is going to screw stuff up. You have to have basic understanding of the station systems. Death is not an appropriate sentence for most crimes, believe it or not. I think there's an in-game book that tells you the punishment for crimes, but I could be wrong. So you need to know how to give tickets and use the brig. You have to also know the mood of the game, draw a line between creating fun by playing a cop and shutting down everybody's fun, and you also need to handle combat. Because when you meet a genuinely bad guy, you need to know how to kill them or fight them or whatever. And since you're constantly interacting with others, you can very easily ruin other people's rounds. This job invites the most scrutiny, is often the most danger, and it really sucks if you're a security officer and you have no idea what you're doing. you kind of ruin the game. The detective is similar to the security officer, not an ideal starting position. It's a little different from the security officer, but still. The boxer, basically punch people really well. This is, I think, another one of those gimmick jobs. It's not going to be there every round. Same with the clown. The clown, I do like it. It says you should avoid this forever. Honestly, I love being the clown. It's really fun. It's got, yeah. The clown is a really, really hated job. You run around, you entertain people, and they hate you for it. You leave friendly little bananas lying on the floor, and they hate you for that because, you know, they don't see that you're trying to just cheer them up. And last but not least, the head of security. For the same reason as security officer, you should not play at this. And you can't play it anyways because it's a whitelist job. You have to get on a list to be able to play this game. To be able to play this job, rather. And as another note, there is no actual skill system on Goonstation. All players can do everything, basically, and operate every equipment at full competence. Your job, for the most part, only determines the area of the station you have access to and the equipment that you start with. Like, I can start as an assistant and still gain access to the science area, and I can use all those things just fine. There is certain exceptions, such as complex tasks that have variable failure chances. For example, surgery is less likely to go wrong if you're a medical doctor or have a medical job. The opposite is true if you're a clown or an untrained professional. So if you're trying to operate on somebody and you're an assistant or you're a clown, you're more likely to screw up because there's a bit of random chance, essentially. So, you know, don't operate on people unless you're like in a dire emergency or something. It basically actually just ran over all the jobs. Right here is where you can find detailed guides. So you can go through here on the jobs tab right here and just go through that and read this. Yeah, it already went over everything. Scientist, roboticist, detective, antagonist roles. These are your antagonist roles. Traders are basically, they are assigned a random job like normal, except they have a trader goal. The vampires are like the traders. They're assigned, I think, a job, and then they sneak around and all do their objectives. They all sneak around and do their objectives. Sometimes, with the exception of the wizard and the nuclear operative, I think. The changeling is also a stealth role. The nuclear operative starts off on a separate station. They come in, they try to steal the data disk, and nuke the station. That's their general goal. The wizard, his general goal is run around, kill everybody, basically. It's really fun, actually. I've played the wizard once. It was a lot of fun. You get to run around and kill stuff. I have not ran into any wraiths, personally. And they added in, apparently, the ability to play the blob. I've never played this personally. But it does list the difficulty over here. The blob is apparently pretty difficult because you actually have to manage like a lot of stuff. And niche roles, werewolf, predator, and the Grinch. I have not played any of these. Random event appearance for the werewolf, so I mean really. Pretty cool though. And the special roles. The Clune. Cursed clown. The only way nowadays that you're gonna get a Clune running around is if a wizard casts Clune's Revenge and turns you from whatever you were before into a Clune. And then everybody can kill you because you're annoying them. Because, you know, there's just random hate for all things clown and clown related. You actually, believe it or not, could be a monkey. You're not going to want to, though. Usually, unless you really want to roleplay a monkey. Yeah. AI, again, not the first thing you're going to want to be playing. It's pretty bad. It's pretty rough if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, the first time I played AI is actually one of the episodes that I have. Cyborg. I've been Cyborg a few times. Yeah, the AI is pretty tough. Cyborg is not that easy as well. And here are the various job of the days. You can get a lawyer, your atmospheric technician, stuff like that, vice officer. Some of these actually used to be normal like jobs that you can pick. Not all of them. Your gimmick jobs, randomly selected jobs that'll appear after the round starts. Your VIP, which only has bridge access apparently. Your Hollywood actor. These are all basically things you would use to just have nice gimmicky fun rounds. Union representative, go around and play demand equal rights for staff assistants, get arrested, inciting the mob and stuff like that. Yeah, all these are just really fun gimmick rounds. Admin intervention. If the admins really want to mess with you, this is what they're gonna throw at you. Any of these. Especially that one. Well, that was it, everybody. Sorry for the actually it wasn't really an interruption for you anyways. But yeah, had to cut the problem with this recording situation. Anyways, that's about it for this episode anyways, though. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully next time I'll be able to get some gameplay recordings and show you around the station or something. Yeah. Hopefully you guys like this and keep on watching. Let me know what in particular you want me to cover, if you want me to cover anything in particular, obviously. Anyways, thank y'all. See you next time. Bye bye.